First appearances are often deceptive. Not everything monstrous looking is evil, and not everything fair is good. And in every fairy tale, there is a grain of truth. The Witcher has, through its various adaptations, become a cultural phenomena firmly planted in both the worlds of gaming and literature. The games are widely acclaimed as some of the best story-driven role-playing games, praised for their depth of immersion and their expansive multitude of stories. It has also more recently been adapted to screen in Netflix's The Witcher TV series. I will always be grateful to CD Projekt Red for their adaptation of Andrzej Sapkowski's works, as it was my first encounter with a world I ended up spending countless hours exploring. A world filled with kings and vampires, sorceresses and monster slayers, schemes and secret. It was a world that was formidably enriched by a vast array of well-written characters faced with the brutal realities of an unforgiving universe. Once I started reading the books, I was yet again enthralled by the world of The Witcher. I found the series jam-packed with everything I loved about the games and more. It was full of compelling stories exploring a wealth of modern topics and philosophies through the lens of fantasy. In this video, I am going to analyze the series' main protagonist, Geralt of Rivia. Who and what he is, his role in the world, his personality, and his approach to life. I will try my best to give you a taste of the series without spoiling too many details. I want to paint you a picture that instills in you the curiosity to explore the books yourself. Onward to the main part. In order for us to understand Geralt, it is important to first understand what a Witcher is and what their role is in the world. A Witcher is a mutated human created with the purpose of ridding the continent of dangerous and magical monsters. Trained from childhood, they traverse the continent for monsters to slay and problems to solve. Being a Witcher is not something the denizens of the continent look favorably upon. They are often ostracized, shunned, and downright hated simply for being Witchers. In many ways, they are viewed as a necessary evil, as they are the only ones who can effectively terminate the supernatural threats plaguing the cities and villages around the world. As soon as the Witcher has fulfilled their contract, they are sent on their merry way. A Witcher is described as a wandering solution in search of his next problem, a man who's seen as many caves and trolls as he has kings, queens, and courts. Having the story told from the perspective of a mutant emphasizes the gray areas of the moral themes the books often explore. As Witchers are neither entirely human nor monstrous, they are in a unique position to experience both the worst and best from humans and monsters alike. They have no allegiance to any king, instead acting as singular entities. All of these factors play together in presenting Geralt as a mostly neutral character in a world dominated by ideologies and so-called great causes. Geralt is not at all accepted from the negative views on Witchers held by the everyman, but he has come to terms with his otherness, despite the fact that he himself did not choose to become a Witcher. This quote from The Last Wish summarizes his view on being an other, and in some ways show Geralt's view on his own role to play in the world. How do you find cohabiting with neighbors from whom, after all, you do differ somewhat? I manage. The Witcher looked him straight in the eyes. I manage because I have to, because I've no other way out, because I've overcome the vanity and pride of being different. I've understood that they are a pitiful defense against being different. Because I've understood that the sun shines differently when something changes, but I'm not the axis of those changes. The sun shines differently, but it will continue to shine, and jumping at it with a hoe isn't going to do anything. We've got to accept facts, elf. That's what we've got to learn. We encounter Geralt as a seasoned veteran of the Witcher profession. He has traveled the far reaches of the continent and has experienced the world and its inhabitants, humans and otherwise, at their most virtuous and in the darkest underbellies of soulless behavior. Geralt has thus developed a quite cynical yet defendable view on human nature and morality. His views on not only the capability, but the prevailing tendency of humans to be equally monstrous as the monsters he hunts are posited eloquently in this quote from The Last Wish. People, Geralt turned his head, like to invent monsters and monstrosities. Then they seem less monstrous themselves. When they get blind drunk, cheat, steal, beat their wives, starve an old woman, when they kill a trapped fox with an axe, or riddle the last existing unicorn with arrows, they like to think that the Bane entering cottages at daybreak is more monstrous than they are. They feel better then. They find it easier to live. Throughout the series, Geralt becomes the adopted father of Ciri, a princess and heiress to a country that is central in the great wars fought over the course of the story. By becoming Ciri's warden and father, he becomes an unwilling participant in the greater conflicts of the series. Geralt's primary motivation throughout the story is finding and protecting Ciri, a goal for which he will go to drastic lengths. The series explore how Geralt can reach this goal while still acting in concordance with the Witcher's code, which is best summarized by this mantra: be a guardian of peace as a slayer of monsters. Improve yourself through knowledge and training, respect the goodness in all life, aid others, but never control or coerce them, use your powers to defend and to protect, not to control or manipulate. Now I would like to focus on the different aspects of Geralt's character by analyzing some of his relationships and a few exemplifying quotes. The first aspect I would like to explore is his stoic side. You can quite easily draw aspects of stoicism from the Witcher Code, from improvement of self through study and practice to the moral duty of serving as a defender without exploiting the people you defend. Geralt strives to live in accordance with the Witcher Code, and through doing so, he embodies the Stoic virtues: courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. However, characterizing Geralt as simply a Stoic does not encapsulate the totality of his character, nor the essence. Another aspect I think it's important to explore is Geralt's philosophy of neutrality, which is a cornerstone of his identity and a recurring source of conflict in the series. Geralt does not wish to take part in the great games of the ruling class. He shows strong distaste for the so-called great causes of others, as shown in this quote from Blood of Elf: "Your great causes, your wars, your struggles to save the world, your end which justifies the means. Prick up your ears, Philippa. Can you hear those voices? That yowling? Those are cats fighting for a great cause, for indivisible mastery over a heap of rubbish. It's no joking matter. Blood is being spilled and clumps of fur are flying. It's war. But I care incredibly little about either of those wars. The cats or yours." Although Geralt is personally withdrawn, he is caring and empathic to his loved ones. Geralt shows a deep sense of duty towards his friends and to those innocent in the face of true evil. He's always willing to go headfirst into danger to save his friends and to share his wisdom in a difficult situation. The best example for this, without spoiling the content of the books too much, is his relationships to both Dandelion and Ciri. With Dandelion, he shows this by always showing up and helping when he's in danger, despite the danger often being facilitated by Dandelion's own actions, usually involving women. They also spend a decent amount of their time traveling together, where they share interesting discussions on the hardships of life, their philosophical views, and the current state of affairs. These scenes are able to excellently flesh out the characters, build the world, and provide a more in-depth exploration of their motivations, their flaws, and their relationship in general. In order to examine Geralt's relationship with Ciri, it is important to understand the law of surprise. The law of surprise, a custom as old as humanity itself, is the price a man who saves another can demand. It is a request for something which neither the savior nor the saved knows the nature of until the saved man returns home. In the case of Geralt, his payment turns out to be Ciri. Geralt's relationship to Ciri is an integral and evolving part of the story throughout the books. Though he's first reluctant to acknowledge his child's surprise out of fear of putting her in more danger for being part of his chaotically entangled life, As the story progresses, he fully embraces his role as her protector and adopted father, doing everything in his mentionable power to keep her safe, as well as to prepare her for all the trials and tribulations that accompany the misfortune of being a child of prophecy. "Geralt, listen to me." "Listen to what?" shouted the Witcher, before his voice suddenly faltered. "I can't leave. I can't just leave her to her fate. She's completely alone. She cannot be left alone, Dandelion. You'll never understand that. No one will ever understand that. But I know, if she remains alone, the same thing will happen to her as once happened to me. You'll never understand that." This quote from Time of Contempt gives us further insight into the relationship between Geralt and Ciri. As we learn over the course of the story, Geralt was himself a child of surprise and was therefore destined to become a Witcher. Thus, I would argue that Geralt's strong sense of duty to protect Ciri comes not only from her being his ward as a result of the Law of Surprise, but also due to the deeper similarities to the circumstances of his own life. The last thing I'd like to focus on is not exclusive to Geralt in the series, but it elevates the quality of the characters and the story from just good fantasy to exceptional literature. Geralt is flawed, both in his character and his action. He is not the typical fantasy hero that saves everyone with a smile and gets the princess and half the kingdom. He's often put in situations where none of the available courses of actions lead to beneficial results. Over the course of the story, he makes a fair amount of choices that lead to some pretty devastating results. This is another factor that humanizes Geralt and removes some of the fantastical flair usually found in the genre. Moreover, he learns from his mistakes and is genuinely troubled by his own impact on the world. Whereas others would easily find a scapegoat to escape the realization of their failures, Geralt refuses to blame others for his mistakes and accepts the full responsibilities of his actions. As he states in Blood of Elves, "Mistakes are also important to me. I don't cross them out of my life or memory, and I never blame others for them." I think this is an excellent trait to have in a potent character, as it pulls him down from the level of the mythological and plants him firmly in the realm of the humane. It is also another aspect of Geralt's character that leans toward the Stoic principles. Now, I hope I've piqued your interests enough to make you want to read the books yourself. They're truly a treasure trove of excellently written characters and thought-provoking stories. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you found it interesting, and let me know in the comment section what you think, or if you have another character or book series you would recommend. Peace out!